Hello, viewers. When I started this YouTube channel almost 1.5 years back in January 2024, I came up with this line to describe the purpose of this channel, which is quite easily visible in the bio of this channel. This channel describes the journey of an Indian ENT specialist to the UK and all things that were encountered along the way. When I started this channel, I wanted to document everything that I experienced before, during, and after my journeys to the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. I predicted that I would have to talk about how I prepared for the various exams, how I prepared for the travel requirements, how did I apply for visa, the logistical challenges, the difficulty of living in the United Kingdom, and the difficulty of procuring all the necessary evidences that are required to get registered with the General Medical Council. I had also anticipated that I would make videos about the process of applying for jobs, and I would also hopefully one day make a video talking about how to succeed in getting the first offer letter from an organization in the United Kingdom. That video is still awaiting release. In this video, I'm going to talk about a topic that I did not foresee I would have to prepare myself for. That topic is how to restore the license to practice with the General Medical Council. Now, the moment you hear the phrase restore license to practice, the question that comes up to your mind automatically is why would that need arise? Why would you even lose your license to practice? So the reason is quite simple. Ideally, you should never lose your license to practice, but there are situations where you might voluntarily surrender your license to practice. Without the license to practice, you cannot treat patients in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Also, I'm calling it Great Britain not because of any affinity for the place, it's just the geographically and constitutionally correct term. Any place which talks about being bigger than what it actually is signifying is has the adjective great alongside with it, like Greater Kolkata or Greater Mumbai or Greater Kailash, I suppose. Once you have passed the required qualification exams, it may be PLAB, it may be a Royal College exam, and you have also passed the English language proficiency tests, and you have got all your documents verified by an organization like EPIC, or I think it is now called My Intel. Once all of this is done, you apply for GMC registration. That is a process I have documented, and it has helped many viewers who have reached out to me personally, as well as commented on this YouTube channel, detailing how they were benefited. I also managed to learn a lot from the knowledge I was able to garner from watching various YouTube videos. But what I had never watched or I never thought about is once I get the GMC registration, I would have to restore it also. So, why did that happen? Once you get your GMC registration, you have two options. You either get the GMC registration only, or you get the GMC registration with a license to practice. Automatically, you tend to get both GMC registration and a license to practice in approved practice settings in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. This scenario is valid for 1 year. After 1 year, you need to undergo something which is known as revalidation. Revalidation can only be carried out by a responsible officer if you are working in the United Kingdom. If you're not working in the United Kingdom, you'll have to arrange a revalidation process on your own, which is quite complicated, something that I have no clear understanding about. So I understood that once I was registered with the General Medical Council, the registration that I got was in March of 2024. I knew that by March of 2025, that is almost 6 months ago, I should have got my first job in the United Kingdom. I should have started working in the United Kingdom if I wanted to maintain my license to practice. Sadly, that wasn't the case. March 2025 arrived, but I did not get any offer letter or any job in the United Kingdom, so it was time for me to make a decision. I decided to voluntarily surrender my license to practice because it was impossible to revalidate it because I was still in India. So I surrendered it. At the time, I felt sad, and I also felt very scared that I might not be able to restore it. But let me allay your concerns at the very beginning. It is very easy to restore your license. In fact, it's much easier to restore your license than it is to get it for the first time. So, how do you do it? Before that, when do you do it? You do it preferably when you feel the requirement to restore your license to practice. Maybe you're feeling more confident. Maybe you want to increase your chances of getting a job, because if you're applying with an active license to practice, chances are that trusts are more likely to shortlist you than not. So that is one possible reason. The other possible reason is if you have an active job offer, then you do need to restore your license to practice if you are hoping to get the certificate of sponsorship from the organization in the United Kingdom. I'll talk about the certificate of sponsorship in a different video. In this video, let me talk about the most important form that you need to get filled by your supervising medical officer. That can be a consultant, that can be the head of the department, that can be the principal. And if you're working independently, it can be a staffing officer in that organization if it is a well coordinated corporate setup. This form is called the UD8 form. Nobody knows what UD8 stands for. It's also called the Provision of Medical Services form. This is a form that you'll easily find online. You can just Google UD8 form GMC and you'll find an easy downloadable version, and you can download it onto your machine, get a printout, and submit it to the person who's going to fill it for you. So, this form should be completed by any person, body, or organization the doctor has an arrangement to provide medical services anywhere in the world to support their application. Now, this can be the organization you're currently working in, and if you're not employed at this moment, then the most recent organization where you worked. Without this document, GMC cannot process the application. If the doctor is or was the GP partner or principal, this form cannot be signed by an employee of the practice and should be signed by a responsible officer, another GP partner or principal, or a medical staffing officer at the trust. To return this form by email, please complete and save a copy as a PDF on your computer. Attach your saved file to email with the GMC number and medical services statement as the subject, and send it to VERL at gmc-uk.org. VERL stands for Voluntary Erasure and Restoration of License. So the form is very easy to fill. It requires your name, your GMC number, your position that you held when you started working there. Are you still providing service to that organization or not? Which medical council you were registered with? So fairly simple stuff. And it has a space in which your supervisor or another doctor has to sign. This can be signed physically. It can also be signed digitally. Digital signatures can be done if you have an Acrobat reader. I think it's called DC, Acrobat Reader DC, which has a very good fill and sign function. And if you have a picture of a signature, then you can easily upload it into the designated space digitally. You don't have to go through the hassle of printing the form out and then taking a picture, scanning it, and then saving it as PDF. So it's a little complicated that way. You get the form, you print it out, you go to your boss signs it, then you scan it, and then you email it. All of that can be done in a very seamless manner if you have the reader software. Do you need anything apart from the UD8 form? Yes, you need one more thing. You need the certificate of good standing from the medical council you are registered with, or you were last registered with at the time of when you were working in this place. So for me, I've been working in the same state in India for almost 12 years now. So I've never been registered with any other medical council outside the state that I am currently in. So I got the certificate of good standing from the medical council of that state that I'm currently in. If you have been working in more than one state, which is quite normal, then you probably will need more than one certificate of good standing covering the last 3 months. It's not the last 5 years, it's the last 3 months. If you've been registered with more than one state medical council, you need certificates of good standing from each of those councils. So, in summary, to restore your GMC license to practice, you need a UD8 form filled in and signed by your supervisor or another general practitioner or a medical staffing personnel. And you also need the certificate of good standing. You need to send it to the email that you can see on your screen. And within, I believe, 7 working days, you'll get an email from them where they will probably ask for your identity documents, which will be the passport scanned copy scan copy of your passport, and then you'll have to pay. So one of the good things about surrendering your license to practice is that if you're not working in the UK, you will not be able to revalidate your license to practice. The only advantage of having a license to practice when you're not in the UK is that your job application appears more attractive to the employer because you are clearly mentioning that you have a license to practice. Other than that, there's not much advantage of having a license to practice in the UK if you're not practicing medicine in the UK. In fact, it has some disadvantages also, if you can call it that. You have to pay a much higher fee to maintain your license to practice compared to only having GMC registration, where you have to pay a much less fee. I don't remember the exact figures, and these figures keep changing. But if I remember correctly, I had to pay around £450 to have the GMC registration and the license to practice, and it was less than half to have only the GMC registration. So once you have your GMC license restored, you'll have to pay the balance sum to maintain your license to practice on the GMC register. I hope this video was lucid enough. If you have any doubts, if you have any queries, do let me know in the comment section. I always reply. Thank you for watching.